if you can say that. They're known as like the gangsters.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's quite a good reputation.
Six of them. And actually, in fact, there's a question that was asked by Aguila was about this coalition. And it turns out that Aguila, I can answer your question, or at least from what we've been informed, is that one of the males hasn't been killed by a crocodile. It was in fact another male lion. Last Sunday, I think it was, Aaron said that he had personally seen 5 plus a 6th with mating with a female on the airstrip. So they are very much alive and well. But it's a massive coalition. I think it's one thing that you need to remember with big lion coalitions, particularly in an area like this where male lion coalitions generally are in the 2s and the 3s. As soon as you've got a male lion coalition of about 6, it's really like living in some of those neighborhoods all over the world where gangs have taken over. Yeah. They completely dominate and they completely wipe out. And they've moved through from the southern Sabi Sands through to the northern Sabi Sands. They've pushed out any male lion that's probably over the age of 2 years old. They've been running for their lives. Any big males that were stubborn. Yeah, I can imagine. So it's absolute drama, and I think, Gabby, as you're saying, that people are actually genuinely concerned about it. But at the end of the day, I suppose that's just how it is. I mean, that's nature. Nature works in weird and mysterious and sometimes cool ways, but that's how it is. But yeah, absolutely must be a sight. I mean, Alice is saying that you guys seeing about every 10 days to 14 days you're seeing that coalition. So I think if you guys want to come and see that coalition with your own eyes, I think now's the time to come. Gabby, I asked you earlier about, you mentioned about the wild dogs. Now, when I see that, I know from my own point of view is that not far from here, I don't know, Colin, were you here when the wild dogs were journeying here, just into Gari, just to the north?
At the back of 90.
Yes, exactly.
It was just when I started here, that first year. I saw them, I think, only once. I mean, I've been here 4 years now. I've seen wild dogs, I think at the most 5 times. It's very, very special. So when you see them, you're very lucky.
They're obviously highly endangered. I think the population fluctuates between about 250 and 350 in the Greater Kruger National Park. I think what's interesting to note is that when you look at, what's a viable number, wild dogs live in packs, and that 250, 350 group fluctuates with rainfall, is really made up of about 25 to 30 different packs. So really together they form one entity, one breeding entity. I mean, you lose a pack and they're very susceptible to diseases like rabies, for example. They're very, very, very social. I mean, one of their feeding strategies is that they regurgitate food for their puppies. So as soon as you get one dog that's got a sickness, I mean, they're regurgitating, it catches. And I know from my own record keeping, when we had the dogs here denning for almost 5 years in a row, it was basically a 50% mortality in puppies in the first 6 months, and 50% of that in the following 6 months. And you were lucky if 2 or 3 individuals would make it to, let's say, dominant alpha male or female type status. And the interesting in the Greater Kruger National Park, there's a photographic study that's run, I think it's every 5 years or something like that, and I believe they're running one now at the moment where you can submit photographs, because the coat of a wild dog is unique. It has a unique, like a fingerprint. And from that they can identify what the population, what groups are. I mean, it's quite interesting. I mean, that original female that came up here, I don't know, 8 years ago, she came from the Oxford pack, which was down by Skakuza. Well, I suppose by the coastline, so Skakuza is only about 25 kilometers from
about
here.
32, I think.
32, so, in miles, what's that, 20 miles maybe, something like that. Oxford probably at the most another 10 miles or so, 30 miles. But I mean, I know dogs have moved, kilometers, through the whole Kruger National Park, 250 kilometers and whatever. They move widely. A lot of people I've seen the questions you have asked us, why don't they see dogs more often? But I think, the thing is that dogs strictly aren't territorial, like your lions are, like your leopards. And they also can't fulfill their kind of engines, if you like, their high-performance engines. I think if you compare a leopard and a lion, we're talking about a kind of a good saloon car. But when you talk about wild dogs, you're talking about Ferraris. And Ferraris are expensive to run. you need big, wide open road, and as a result, those packs, they move widely. I mean, the Sabi Sands is about 60,000 hectares, somewhere around there. And I mean, it's probably, well, in fact, the last statistic I read, that was probably about spot on, what they need within this area to actually survive. But of course, wild dogs don't live within our boundaries, and of course, it's unfenced with the Kruger National Park. So what we find is we've had 2 or 3 maybe packs overlapping, but at the same time, you can get female groups and male groups breaking off and almost kind of, not necessarily nomadic, but they're moving through on at the beginning of the reproductive cycle. They see that they're in a pack with other female, alpha male and female. They know that they're not going to reach breeding potential in that environment, so they break off with another bunch of females and then move off. And that's probably also, the dogs that have passed through here. I know that we've only seen them. How many times have we seen them on the camera?
Twice.
Twice. But I know that they've been here many times more.
Yeah, you know what I think? I mean, we've got a mum with 3 pups now, and they were lying just next to my house the one day. Can you remember? And they ran past they were not hunting, but the pups went one direction and the mum went the other direction, and then they were looking for them, and they found them, and then the other day they just killed an impala, just west of the camp, but out of reach for a camera, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I've got a question here about the mobile cam. It's for sure get small and don't face it. I want cam as well, by the way. Leo has asked a question here, has any ranger at Nkorho Pan, it's Nkorho Lodge, the pan is named after the lodge, had the opportunity to name any of the animals, and if so, which ranger and which animal? Okay, that's probably, can you answer that question directly?
Yes, at this moment, or recently.
What's the last time that somebody in your staff or at Nkorho has actually named an animal?
Alan and Chris. Yeah. They named the leopard a female.
Okay.
Yeah. The poppy. Yeah. It is named after the gunny stand that's just behind us.
Okay.
They found it. Yeah.
Okay.
And then a long time ago, Chila was named after a ranger at Virtue as well, Stephen.
Okay,
Yeah.
right, interesting. Gabby, you mentioned that they saw it first, or they found it first. Is that how you get naming rights?
Yeah, I think.
To say.
I think it's on whoever ground you're on.
Okay.
And if you don't know the leopard, so yeah, everybody knows the leopards around here.
Yeah.
If you don't know it and you aren't recognizable with the leopard and it's on your ground, I think you're allowed to name it.
Okay. Yeah. I think just for the viewers as well is that all this property here within the Sabi Sands at 60,000 hectares is privately owned property. And there are very few, if any, actually reserves here that traverse solely on their property. There's always traversing right onto opposite, and some is shared and some is not, and there's politics, and we're not getting to that right now. But nevertheless, so that's, I think, just in reference to what Gabby's saying, is that, probably first right goes to the owner, but certainly I think, from my experience, is that, it's that ranger that has found it first or discovered a youngster, really has a good opportunity of actually naming that individual.
So just on that, how do you propagate the name? I mean, how do you get everybody else to know about it? I mean, okay, sure, you guys can sit there and do up a great name, but how does everybody else get to know about it?
Radio, yeah.
Okay, so they're all in contact.
Yeah.
So, like you guys, well not you particularly, but one of the rangers from Nkorho will see Freddie. What's the word?
Freddie.
We got Freddie. Is it?
Freddie the frog.
The screen on the camera.
Yeah, but he's not very well, is he well known?
Very well.
I'm pointing to the rest of the world as well.
It's all watching.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, by radio.
Okay.